Alright, you guys, today is going to be the big move. So, we have most of the animals here in my bedroom, but since I'm getting more, I want them all to be together, and I'm also setting up a rack system for them. So, I'm going to be moving these guys into the other room where my skink is already set up, but needs to be put on a rack. And it's gonna take a lot. As you can see, I already emptied out that TV stand that you saw that was standing right here, which is where the rack system is going to go up. Over here, this is where the skink's at, but along this area is where that large stand in my room where all the animals are at is going. And here is all the stuff that I cleared out of it, as well as the other two tanks. These two tanks are going to be the ones that are going to be set up on the long one once it's finished being moved into here. But the first step is to set up that rack system. Alrighty, so this is that rack system that I was talking about. It's just a standard wire rack system that I got from Lowe's. It was like $85 with tax. So it's a 5-tier shelf because I didn't need that many shelves. They did have a 6-tier one, but that would be super tall, and I don't think I would even have enough room to use that last shelf. So this one, let's see if I can find the stuff on here. So it can hold 350 pounds per shelf, and the dimensions are on here somewhere. Oh yeah, down at the bottom. So this is 18 inches wide, 47 inches long, and 72 inches tall. Now I'm using the wire rack system. That way there's easy access to get down to the ground back here to be able to plug in heaters, filters, and whatnot back here. And it's just easier to get around wires and all of that stuff with these metal racks. There were some really nice other racks there that were solid, like metal or wood or a heavier duty plastic, but there was no gaps in between or in the shelving, and I just really wanted to go with the wire one, so that way I wouldn't have to deal with sticking my hands all the way through the back and down to the bottom towards the floor for all those things that needed to be plugged in. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. One thing that you really want to make sure that you do before setting up a wire rack is making sure that you know the measurements of your tanks, so that way it goes for an easy setup. You want to know what tank is going on what shelving, so that way you can have enough space in between to make sure that you can get into your tanks. So this rack system comes in a box like this. It has the shelves, then it has the legs and the poles that go up, all wrapped up together. Then it has these little black stoppers, I guess I would call them. Basically, they just clip onto the rings of the poles, so that way when you put the shelving on top through the pole, it stops it at the point that you want it to be at. So it has a super easy setup. Anyone could set it up, even by themselves. Doesn't really need a lot of work. Well, I wouldn't say it doesn't need a lot of work, but it doesn't require a lot of assembly. Alright, so we have the base set up. We have our power strip set to pretty much where we want it for when we plug everything in. So that's good, and then next step is to add the shelf. So Reptar is actually going to be the one that's at the bottom. So make sure that the tank size is going to be accounted for, and make sure that we're able to fit it underneath. So to measure these tanks, I first kind of eyeballed it a little bit, but just to make sure that I got accurate representation, I actually used my Totoro stuffed animal pillow to see how tall I needed the tank, or the space in between the shelves, to be, using his body as kind of like a measuring tape. And it actually is working out pretty well so far, so this is the next set that I have to do. Alright, you guys, the first tank is in the rack system right now. Took Reptar out, and I put her in my bathtub for just a little bit. Then I moved her tank over, plugged in her heater, put her back in here, and she crawled straight into there. Don't know if you can see her or not, but yeah, we're off to a good start. Alright guys, so I ended up actually moving this rack down, or this shelf down, because this is actually still quite a bit of space, but because it's the Exoterra front opening tank, I really don't need to have a lot of space in between here, because I can just access the tank through this, which is why it's super handy to have these for reptiles, especially if you're going to do a rack system. If you're not, it's not necessarily super important, although these are really, really nice tanks. Alrighty guys, the job is almost done. I just pulled out this large TV stand. That one's still over there. Gonna clean up over here, but are you guys ready for this? Drum roll, please. The rack is all set up. Look at how glorious this is. Damn, I did a good job. Let's see if I can get a good angle here. Boom. All right, so we have our lovely Reptar. We have our fish tank. This blank space here is where I'm going to put the tank for the newt when he grows a little bit larger. That way I have both of the water tanks at a level space, making it easier to do water changes. Making sure that I have enough room here. And then on this level, we have Kylon and a blank space. We'll see what goes there. It's gonna be a surprise for you guys, and I hope y'all are excited for it. And then up here I have my beautiful standing up sideways tanks. We have Coco on that side. We have the frogs, Kimiko and Harold, on this side. And you guys, this is gorgeous. But it's not done yet. I still gotta move that over. Gotta move this little guy out of the way. And gotta get that gigantic thing through this door. So, wish me luck, everyone. Well, here's the rack. We have our mini fridge. And here's that other stand. So I finally got everything moved into the room. Now it's time to decorate. And our surprise tanks that will be set up in a different video for some surprise animals are gonna go on this stand now that everything is moved to the rack. And as you can see, there's some spaces there for something. Super excited for everything that's gonna happen, guys. Alright guys, we have a finished room. Well, mostly finished. Here's everything. I threw a little bit of decorations on there. Some shells there. We got our little waving cat there. It's looking really good, guys. Definitely gonna add a lot more decorations soon. But yeah, Now we just have to wait until the next video when I set up those other tanks and we'll see what new babies come. But it's looking really good, you guys. Really happy with how everything's turning out. And we have one final teaser for you. What could these be for? Find out next time.